You know, Reese, I was sitting here listening to that attorney, and all I could hear in my head of you unleashing Piers Morgan level F-bombs at the white supremacy that was just dripping out of his mouth.
Yeah, and I have some F-bombs coming right now because what I have to say is if y'all are so motherfucking intimidated by the presence of Black people, why don't y'all leave us the fuck alone? We wouldn't even be in a trial for these motherfuckers if they had just left Ahmaud Arbery alone. He was minding his Black ass business, jogging, committing no crimes, when these white men happened upon him and decided to be slave patrol vigilantes and lynch him. So there's this whole notion of intimidation is bullshit. Look at Trayvon Martin walking home, minding his business, and somebody decides to be intimidated by him, George Zimmerman, and murders him. You had Botham Jean, who was in his apartment, his own apartment, who gets murdered because the woman is scared. You in his apartment. Breonna Taylor, she's in her bed. She's in her apartment. And this is just the common theme of people claiming to be so damn intimidated by Black people while seeking us out for violence. And they're the ones that are intimidating. So I'm sick of hearing about intimidation. It's about the fact that these people believe that Black people moving freely is an affront to their white supremacist need to oversee our every move. It's legal. It's perfectly legal. It's actually allowed by the rules for the public to come. It doesn't matter who you are. There's no restriction on it. They're not being disruptive. They had to be told that Reverend Al Sharpton was there. So this is really a further just white violence. The rhetoric and the antics and the motions are flat out white supremacist violence. It's disgusting to even be subjected to it. And I just can't even imagine what Ahmaud Arbery's family is going through. Yeah, you damn right they need all of the Holy Ghost, the Lord, Jesus, every Black pastor descending on them just to keep them going, because I'm disgusted sitting here listening to the shit. And these people say this and they have no sense of humanity, of decency, and shame. None of it. It's disgusting. I am sick of it. I want everybody, Black, white, Latino, Asian, every person of faith that can descend on that courtroom and show them that a human being was lynched in 2020, and it took the outcry of the public to even get to that damn trial. That's what I want to see. And if you're intimidated, good. Maybe you'll do the right damn thing for a change.
Mario, I have, over the years, I've covered trials. I've witnessed trials. I remember when Michael Irvin was on trial and Troy Aikman came to the courtroom to stand with his wide receiver. The judge, Manny Alvarez, called him into the chambers and said, look, long as you're not a disruption, as long as you don't do anything in particular, if you just simply sit there like anyone else, did not want signing of autographs and taking pictures in the courtroom. And Troy Aikman said, absolutely. Trials are public. This is one of the most racist things that I have ever, I've seen a lot before. This is probably one of the most overt, blatant, racist requests I have ever heard from an attorney to specifically bar Black pastors. When you heard Barbara and Darrell say that there are white preachers who are standing with the family of Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah, Roland, thanks for having me on once again. Good to see all the panelists. You know, this is something that should have been struck down more forcefully by that judge. I'm very disappointed that the judge did not admonish him, sanction him, and he should be sanctioned by the bar. I'm hoping that a Black attorney down in Georgia, maybe my good friend Chris Stewart in Atlanta, will file a bar complaint, because that is ridiculous. And we already know this judge is sympathetic to this type of racism because he allowed this trial to move forward, knowing that they were striking Black jurors illegally against what's called Batson. So this is something that's, I'm right like Reese, it's sickening. It reminds me of a case I had here in Oklahoma where my client was impacted or encountered a white security guard. The security guard had no reason to encounter my client. My client was driving off. driving away from the security guard, and he shoots him in the back, through the neck, paralyzes him, and kills him. And then the security guard said he feared for his life. Because the reality is that our bodies is considered a dangerous weapon, and Reese had it just correct. They don't like to see us be able to move around freely. So, this is just ridiculous. But that judge had a duty, and he failed the duty to admonish. For that lawyer to say black pastors, that is overt intentional discrimination. It is the type of intentional discrimination that we did not see often until Trump came back on the scene. We know as black people that's always there. But in the courtroom, I've never seen that. I've been practicing law for 17 years. I've never seen anything like that. The judge should have admonished him, and I hope there is a bar complaint against that racist, overt racist attorney.
Greg, we saw the judge in the Kyle Rittenhouse case just go off repeatedly against the prosecution. This was an example where this judge should have shut that down and absolutely admonished his lawyer for his racism.
Yes, of course, or not. I mean, unlike turn 'em loose, Bruce Schroeder up there in Wisconsin turned Kyle loose. Seems like the grand wizard of the keep Kyle from being convicted, the KKK, up there in Wisconsin, Schroeder, who we'll talk about. This judge, Timothy Walmsley, by comparison, is a flaming progressive. And that really is the first mark that we see of the abusive relationship called Black America with America. The idea that this man spoke what he did, and I agree with you, Brother Demario, it's good to see you, brother, that he should have been much more forceful, but the fact that he even was as, relatively speaking, forceful as he was is something that black people will be grateful for. But let's take a minute to talk about this hillbilly Kevin Robert Gough, the defense attorney. Mr. Gough, I'd like to congratulate him, as I do all white nationalists and racists, for saying it with their chest. I don't think he was talking to any black people or anybody really in the courtroom, maybe not even the jurors. He's playing to his crowd. His crowd is the court of public opinion. And we know that Brunswick, Georgia is 55% black. We know that the surrounding Glenn County is 70% white. And his statement wasn't just an all shucks kind of rambling of a hillbilly lawyer. It was a carefully crafted piece of hate speech. Notice what he said. The first thing he said was the Right Reverend Al Sharpton. Now, unless my memory is faulty, I don't think Al Sharpton is either Lutheran, Anglican, or Catholic. And those are the areas that mostly when you call somebody Right Reverend, that was the first insult. The Right Reverend Al Sharpton. Then he said, managed to find his way. This is the language of apartheid. This is the language of Jim Crow. They're going to put F.W. de Klerk in the ground in South Africa, good riddance, shortly. He just died today. But in America, when you say managed to find their way, it's language you learn, you use for vermin. You use for insects. You use for rats and mice. And then later when he said Jesse Jackson is going to be in here. That's like a rat got in my house, or a mouse is in here. And he said, I haven't seen he hadn't been here since Elaine Brown ran for mayor. Elaine Brown, former leader of the Black Panther Party, ran for mayor of Brunswick, Georgia, in a write-in campaign in 2005. Up until then, this majority black city had never had a black mayor, didn't have one now, although it has a black mayor now. And then finally, he didn't just say black ministers. The last thing he said was, if we're going to let high-profile members of the black community, oh man, I just want to embrace that man and give him a hug that's so tight that it breaks his spine. Because I want to congratulate him for expanding that to basically any N-words come in here that ain't part of the family. He didn't just say ministers. He said high-profile members of the black community. It was an exquisitely crafted piece of hate speech by this white nationalist. Good job, good job.
Back to that Roland Mark unfiltered video in just one moment.
Once upon a time, there lived a princess with really long hair who was waiting for a prince to come save her. But really, who has time for that?
Let's go. Feeling myself. I'm feeling
She ordered herself a ladder with Prime one-day delivery, and she was out of there.
I want some hood girls looking back at it and a good girl in my tax bracket.
Now, her hairdressing empire is killing it. And the prince? Well, who cares? Prime changes everything.
Time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punching! Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice
to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on that.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. You dig?